welcome back to my channel. Today I filmed a summer-proof makeup tutorial, and then I'm also including a few tips for anyone who's like super oily out there that really struggles with this. So I'm just gonna jump right into this. I did all my skincare and stuff before I did my foundation because I like to set I like to set my skincare. Everybody does that. It's a new thing. No, I like to let my skincare sink into my skin. So one of the things that I like to use whenever it is the summertime, because I'm dry and oily, is this guy right here. It is a gel-based moisturizer, and I love this one as well. But any gel-based moisturizers are going to be great for your skin because it's not going to be too heavy, but it's going to moisturize your skin. And this one is the B-Hydra Intensive Hydration Gel from Drunk Elephant. This is the one I use today. And then also, I use this one a lot in the past. I've since moved on to the Drunk Elephant, but I love this one as well. This is the Marine Bright Moisture Cream Lightful-C, another gel-based. If you use something that's too emollient and you're oily, you're gonna be an oil slick by not the end of the day, like a few hours in, you're gonna be disgusting. So gel-based moisturizers is where it's at. If you want a good moisturizer that has SPF in it, this one's really great. This is the Murad Oil Control Mattifier with SPF 15. I like to use something that has more SPF because of the skincare regimen I have. Makes my face very susceptible to the sunlight. But this one is great. It really does mattify your skin. But I don't feel like you look cakey. Just don't use too much. But it is a really great choice if you have oily skin. The sunscreen I like to use, this is what I have underneath my makeup right now, is this Supergroup SPF 40 mineral sunscreen, because the chemical ones break me out horribly, and this one does not. But I do have to let it sink into my skin, otherwise it'll be too shiny. But I have it on underneath my makeup right now and it looks super good. And then of course we come to primers. Absolutely prime your skin. I do that after my skincare. Primer is going to help your makeup last longer, look better, and some of them help control oil. The one I use to help control my oil is the Skin Refine Zone from MAC. I only put this in my T-zone and on my pores. I do not get super shiny. I get a little bit of breakthrough about 8 hours or so, but that's a good amount of time. And then on top of that, I put the Makeup Forever Smoothing, and this one I use because I have huge pores. There's all different kinds of primers out there that are amazing for oily skin. Really, you just have to find one that benefits you the best, that works the best for you, because we are all different. Anywho, now I'm going to step into the tutorial part of this, and just know that, yeah, I've got all that stuff on my face. All right, let's do this. The foundation that I'm going to use is obviously my favorite summertime foundation. This is the Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation from MAC. The shade I am using today is NC30. You do not want to use a lot of this, so just a little bit goes a long way. And I'm going to use a damp beauty blender because I find that that really busts it out the best, because if it's too thick, you're going to feel it on your skin, especially during the summertime. So I'm taking the damp beauty blender and just going to work this in. And I will say my beauty blender is a little bit more damp than normal so that I can blend it out better. I really need like NC45. I'm not even kidding. I put NC45 on my shoulder the other day. Blend it right in. Obviously, I love this foundation for the summertime because it is waterproof, but it's also like sweat proof, obviously. So it doesn't end up separating on me. Even if I get super sweaty or super oily, anything that happens to me, it does not move. So I love that. So I'm going to continue that trend with a concealer that does not move. And this is the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, and I am in the shade Light 3 Warm. But I'm not going to put very much. So I'm going to kind of dab, 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 a little bit here and a little bit there. So not nearly as much as I would typically, and I'm just going to blend this out. Besides that, a little of this goes a very, very long way. Another one of the reasons that I love to use a beauty blender is not only that it can really buff out the foundation to where it's not as thick, but when you're pushing it into the skin, you get better coverage, but then it also picks up anything that could be sitting on your skin. If there's something sitting on your skin, you're gonna end up with cake face, and that's just not cute. I'm gonna set my concealed areas, and my favorite powder to do that with is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders, and this one is in Diffused Light, and I'm gonna use my beauty blender. I'm gonna grab some of the product and just set underneath the eyes and anywhere that I highlighted. Now I need to set my foundation. So I'm gonna use a powder that absolutely keeps everything in place, does not budge. If you're oily, you're gonna love this. I'm combination. It doesn't dry me out. I think it'd probably be too much for underneath my eyes, but not on my face. So this is Translucent, the Lock-It Setting Powder from Kat Von D. I'm just gonna grab this on a big brush, not a big blush. And I'm gonna kind of tap everywhere that I want the powder. I'm avoiding anywhere that I highlighted, and then I just start to buff it in. More of like patting motions and then buff it. Now this is just something I do because I have a freckle right here. I'm gonna add that back in using MAC Taupe Eye Pencil. Now it's time for me to try and get this face to match my body a little bit better. It's really hard because like my neck and stuff, it's all still lighter and my body isn't. So it's like this mixing match game. But I'm using Hourglass Diffused, Luminous Bronze Light. I was like, that's not right. And my favorite brush of all time. I think this is my favorite brush out of all my brushes. This is the Tom Ford number 5 brush, and I'm going to bronze the heck out of my skin with this. I like using this bronzer in particular. I really like the MAC Give Me Sun as well, but this one's more luminous. So I feel like for all the powders that I put on my face to keep my makeup in place, I like to have like that luminous factor in my bronzer. For blush, I'm gonna go in with MAC's Melba. This is like an in-between between a peach and a pink. I'm just gonna pop that on the cheeks. And this is a MAC 129. Dual fiber blending brush, and I just go right around the edges of my blush to soften it before the next step, which is my favorite step. This step has become my favorite part of my foundation routine. I absolutely love it. And usually I use the La Mer V powder, but because it's discontinued as of right now, it's hard to get your hands on it. I'm going to show you guys what I've been using in its place, which I'm not gonna lie, I still use my La Mer powder because I have a bunch of them, but this one works just as well. This is the Sisley I don't know how to say that. It is the loose face powder. It's translucent and it's number 1 Irisee or something like that. And I've deemed it the messiest powder on the face of the planet. But I'm gonna use the La Mer The Powder brush, and I'm gonna pick this up, tap off a little bit, pop it around my face. Has a scent to it. I don't love the scent. And then buff it in. This makes my face look so much smoother. It's more radiant. It looks like I have a filter on my face. I love it. So if you can't get your hands on the La Mer powder, this one's just as good. It's just more expensive, which is stupid. So stupid. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera, but my face is way more luminous with this powder on, and it doesn't really alter my complexion. Like, it doesn't make me look pink or golden or brown. It doesn't change it so much, which, I mean, it does a little bit, but not like some of the other powders I've tried. So I'm very happy with it. I've already done my brows, and I have some clear brow gel in, but I like to go back and add a little bit more to really make sure that they stay in place. So one of the tips I definitely suggest for the summertime, if not all the time, because if you're like me and you have longer brow hairs, they be doing peace signs by the end of the day, and it's not cute. This really holds them in place. And this one is the MAC Clear Brow Gel. All right, next I'm going to move on to my eyes, and I'm going to prime them using MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. This guy does not budge. It's great to wear on its own or to wear underneath shadow. So I'm going to use this on a MAC a Marc Jacobs the conceal brush, and I'm going to just buff this into my skin from brow all the way down to the lash line. Just don't use too much because then it would have the opposite effect. Now the last thing I want to do when it's summertime is add a bunch of stuff to my eyes because A, they can get kind of irritated, and if I'm sweaty and gross, I feel like everything just looks cakey. So I feel like if I have less makeup on my eyes, I look more fresh. So even if I get sweaty, I still look fresh. Whereas if I get sweaty and I have a smoky eye, I look disgusting. So I'm going to use my MAC CS Chic palette, and you can really just use any tones that you want to, but I'm using MAC's. This is, obviously it's MAC. This is Drawing a Blanc. Something like Brulee or any color bone colored shadow will work. And I'm just setting this primer I put on my eyes, that paint pot. And this is a MAC 227. Now I'm going to grab a soft brown, and this is a permanent shade. You can get it anytime. And this is a Sephora Pro tapered crease brush. And I'm just going to pop this in my crease. Just doing it kind of sloppily. It doesn't really matter. Just blend it out. Circles. You know the drill. All this really does is add a little bit of dimension to the eye so it's not completely blank. Same color in my NARS pencil brush, and I'm just going right underneath the lower lash line. I feel like I always have to have something on the lower lash line. Doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but there's got to be something there. Now that's literally all I'm going to do for shadow on my eyes. I'm not going to do anything else. Now I don't have a favorite waterproof mascara, so I'm just going to use one of the ones I have. I suggest waterproof so that you don't end up with stuff out underneath your eyes if you get sweaty or it doesn't transfer to the lid. So I'm using the MAC Extra Dimension Waterproof, and I'm just going to apply this to my top and bottom lashes. I am not going to apply falsies today because when I think of like summer, just like get ready and go makeup, I don't think of falsies. Now when I think of summertime makeup, I definitely think of that glow. So I'm going to use my favorite one right now, and trust me, this stuff does not move. When I put it on my hand, like I stick it underneath the water to get it off and it does not budge. So this is the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops. I always want to say cover. And this is in the shade Sunlight. And what I do is I take it and I put it on my hand in like a little line. And then I take this sponge. This is the Real Techniques one. I like to keep my sponges separate so that I don't have highlighter on my foundation and concealer blender. I take it and I just start to dab and blend out on the cheeks. And I bring it up right over top of my stars and like a C. But I just kind of keep rotating the blender and really making sure it's buffed out. So I don't want like a harsh line. Now I put some on the tip of my nose and a little bit on the bridge at the top. Cupid's bow. And then for lips, I really just like to throw on a gloss and go. I don't like to think about my lips too much. So I'm going to use the Cream Sheen Glass from MAC. This is called Richer Lusher. It's one of my favorite lip glosses from them. It's kind of like a peachy pink shade. Kind of goes really nicely with the blush. Now that I've got everything done, I'm going to set my face, and this is just going to further ensure that my makeup does not move. I have full faith in my Pro Longwear foundation, but you just go the extra mile when it's 110 outside, I'm just saying. So this is the Chill Makeup Setting Sprays from Urban Decay. They also have the D-Slick and the All Nighter. If you're oily, I would go with one of those, but they dry me out a little too much. So I'm going to use this one. I feel like spraying your face kind of makes your powders waterproof, if that makes sense. Or budge proof. I don't know. It doesn't move whenever I wear it though, that's for sure. So I have two more things that I want to mention. If you're super oily, I definitely suggest these two things, but don't use this without this. So I have the blotting sheets from MAC and then the blotting powder from MAC. Now, do not use the powder by itself. I suggest taking one of these sheets and blotting where you're oily. This does not move your makeup. It does not disturb anything. It looks brand new whenever you use it, and it really looks really gross because you can like see through the blue sheets. So use this first and then go in with your blot powder. And the reason why I say this powder versus like any other ones is because this is specifically made to control oil. It is going to do a way better job than any other powders that you could possibly put for oil. So blot and then add this and you're gonna be set, you're gonna be matte. I don't like to set my face with this just because I feel like it looks a little too dry, but maybe if you're super oily, you probably would wanna set your makeup with this. It does not add any color or texture. It's just almost translucent. Like they don't come in a bunch of shades. I think this one is medium or something like that. But yeah. Don't use one without the other. So if you just put this powder on without dabbing your face first, it's gonna look cakey because you're putting this on top of oil. It's gonna kind of soak up the oil, but then it's sitting on your face. So it's not cute. Use the sheets first, then this. And I'll also say, do not store your sponges or anything in here because all the oil from your face still gets collected in those sponges, and then you're setting it on here and then you get hard pan, which is like, it looks gross, hard, you can't get any powder off. That's why, it's because the oil is seeping into your powder. So just a little tip for you guys. If you have any summertime tips, leave them down below. I love to read you guys' comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.